a log, and it's big, and we're gonna cut it in a bunch of slices, 1 inch thick, and then let it dry. And then later on, when it's dry, we'll cut it up into little pieces and make beehive boxes out of it. So come join me. So there's the sawmill. And there's the log. So here we go. So first thing we got to do is make sure that the log is pushed over to the one side. I think that's what these call these. So they're at the max height right now. And that keeps the log from rolling off on this side. Now it could roll off the other way. So we have to adjust the safety device here that locks it in. So on this side, we got a fancy tool. I don't know if I got it at the right spot. Let's go up one more. There we go. Yeah. So we got this little device here. Let me unscrew this and bring it out of storage. And this will tighten up. Keep that rolling around. Feels good and strong. Now the next question is the log centered? People like to keep the center of the log the same height throughout. So let me go get a tape measure. So rather than go for the center, I just go for the average height of the log. So right here at the first one, I'm going to do an estimated height here. So if I draw an imaginary line over there, this comes about 14 in a height. So then I go up on this end. There's this one. And I draw an imaginary line. This one's at 16. That means ½ an inch difference would split the two. So then there's a piece of cut off, and this is probably about ½ an inch right here in the middle here somewhere. So what we'll do is we'll shove this under here and lift that up. So to lift it up, we got this long, I don't know what it's called, a railroad spike or something. And it's got a big wedge on the other end. I want to pry that up and then shove that thing under there. I'm going to sit on the end, lift it up. That should do that. Now in order to store this, jam it in the ground. So now this should be 14 and a half roughly. Let's see. On this side. Let's see, this is 14 and a half. It's almost 15. Close enough. So now the next step is we've got to fill up the water. So up in the top here, can't see from this side. Got this little water container, and on the bottom is a clamp that holds it in. And I had the clamp set where it just pulls it out. We're going to go down here to the bottom, get us some water. Kind of lift it out a little bit, get some of that junk that I got in there. And make sure none of that junk goes back down in there. That one. Yeah, it looks like it's doing good. Now we put that into position. And we hook on our hose. That should be good for about 3, maybe 4 logs if I keep turning it off and on each time. And I use this to turn it on. And that makes the water come out down here. Right down at the blade. Barely see that, can you? I bet I can't zoom in on this, can I? There you go. See, there's the water coming out. And I can use the throttle and adjust that and make it just enough that it gets the blade wet. I use this to throttle it. Alright, so now I just filled up the gas before I went live because I didn't want to show you how messy these new anti-venting tanks are. So I did it off camera because they leak everywhere and I didn't want people to have problems with the environment getting messed up with this new ventless gas tank that leaks gas on the ground when you try and use it. Don't understand how that saves the world if it leaks on the ground more than it vents in here. That's besides the story. So right now we got to start this up. So we're going to try the choke. And this is a little finicky sometimes. We do the choke and we might have to time it just right. We're going to turn on the power, pull the cord. Okay, she works. It's a good sign. So now we know that the saw is going to work. We got it level, raise the blade to the point where it's going to cut the first 1 inch off the top. So we're going to use our crank here. Oh, you can't see the crank. There you go. No, I'm not the crank. Oh, you guys. That never stops. Alright, so here's the crank. And basically, every time I turn this thing 4 turns, it goes up 1 inch. So I'm going to guess this has got to go up about 8 inches. 1, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. And we'll start with that and see how high that is. So now when we get down in there, look at the saw blade compared to the log. It's not a good position. You can't see the difference. Sorry guys, got to move the camera. There you go. So now, as we raise that blade, we're going to try and get that right up to the top. Probably about 1 inch from the top. Let's go 2 inches from the top. There you go. Bring that on in. That should be about it. And the reason I say 2 inches is I see when I drag this on the ground, I got a lot of these stones and stuff in here. All I need is one of them babies. And I don't have a dull blade, so I'm going to keep it away from that nastiness. I think I'm going to go a little bit lower. So it'll be almost like 3 inches down. Should be a good height. 3 inches, this is the blade. That's the top of the log. And you want to see it from this end here? Why not? So this is what it looks like from the end. So this is about 3 inches. Pretty close. That's almost 3 inches exactly. We'll cut that right off right there. And then this top part will be burned. All right. So now we've got that part done. I'm going to zoom out, back you up a little bit so you can see. Now we got these two dogs right here, handles. That locks that so that it doesn't go up and down by any mistake. And we're going to take our tape measure and throw that in our pocket. So now we should be ready to cut this thing. So here we go. Hold your ears. What do you all think of the first cut? Look at that. First cut, only a couple seconds. So we've got glowing firewood. Thanks for coming in here. Oh, you can't hear. It's so far, so good. Oh, hi Frank. Can hear it. Howdy, how you doing? I'm doing good, Mr. Trump. Or Mr. Tripp. So, that's the first part. Some people will do stuff with this. I usually I'm just disposing it because it doesn't have anything for me. Hey, Mr. Birch Scrapper, thanks for coming in. So that's the first cut on our log. Now what I would like to do is get this thing down to roughly 10 inches wide because that's how big a beehive is. So if I take 10 inches, this is definitely within the 10-inch range there. Oh, this is backwards. How do you flip the camera around? Oh, this is going to drive me nuts. And the settings here, that's a share. I have no idea. Live chat. Clipboard. Nope. I have no idea how to flip this thing around. Probably something I had to set up before I got in here. Hey, Glowing Firewood, thanks for the super chat. Appreciate it. So if I get this 10 inches across the whole way, then that means I could use this the way it is cut and make me a nice bee frame with that. So let's get this off and just check it. Make sure it's 10 inches away. No, it actually goes down to 9 inches. So I'm going to take one more slice. That way I can get down in here and be about 9 inches. And then I should have, oh, looks like 11. I might be able to get 10 boards out of here. Maybe 9 boards. 9 boards sliced. So I make some bee boxes later on. And you asked me how long this is. This is a pine tree. Probably this is 8 foot long. Right there, 8 foot. Even though it's backwards, we'll have to change that in the edit. Make it forward. This is what kind of pine is this? I'll show you. Looks like this. See that up there? It's like a scrub pine. Not pretty, it's just ugly. Scrub pine, I guess. It's not the kind of pine that you'd have as a Christmas tree. So anyway, let's celebrate the 5th super on the live stream. Wow! 5th super chat. That's amazing. Thank you, Mr. Mr. Firewood, Glowing Firewood, for celebrating the 5th super chat on a live stream. That's pretty wild. Let's give this the angle and cut another board. We'll back it up. Hey, Sarah, thanks for coming in here. Appreciate you joining the live. I'm getting ready for some more beehives. The only thing with beehives this time of year is if you cut the log, I hear it takes like 1 year for the wood to dry per inch. So theoretically, in about, what would that be, like 8 months, I should be able to cut these into beehives. So it's not like you can go out to the store and just buy a beehive when you need it. You got to kind of plan ahead. So what I'm doing is I'm cutting them to 1 inch thick. Actually, it's going to be a little less than 1 inch because I'm just cutting them at every 1 inch on the saw when it drops down. So in reality, they're a little less than 1 inch. And what I've been finding out is it takes forever. It's backwards, but almost 1 inch thick. And I'm finding out it takes forever to take that 1/4 inch and plane it down on the plane. I used to make it 1 1/4 inches and it would take forever to plane it down. So I'm learning to just trust the saw, make sure that the blade's new and it doesn't do all the dippy-doos and it's pretty straight, and go with it. If it ends up having little bits of roughness, I just throw them toward the inside of the hive. Then it's kind of like that Premier Beekeeping's propolis hive. I don't know, rough. Anyway, so I'm not going to sweat it anymore. Just going to go as many boards as I get every inch. So this first one was about 9 inches up here in the middle, and it was over 10 inches up here. So I took off one more slice. So then from here down, I should be able to get maybe 9 more that are complete boards. Now the problem is, as this curve goes, your boards will want to kind of bend around and yeah, propolize. That's the word, propolize. Sarah, one of the things I've realized that when I go live is I cannot talk and the truth comes out. But if you're going to do live, you just have to accept it, that the world's going to know that you know how to, you have no idea how to talk and you don't know how to focus on the camera, and just have to get over it. Just accept it. You're not perfect, not like the big guys that know how to talk in front of a camera. And so we just go for it. And I appreciate you, Sarah, for getting on there and putting up with all that stress. I know you had a toothache the other night and you were on the live. I appreciate you putting up with the pain. I heard how it's going all throughout the, how all this stuff is connected together. It's just amazing. But I appreciate you getting on there, and because of your encouragement, I went on last night, and we're going to try it again. And right now I'm doing live through the YouTube direct. It's not through the StreamYard, and my phone is kind of low on charge, so it probably is going to die halfway. But I'm just trying to see. I turned off my Wi-Fi connection because I think that was giving me trouble last time, and I'm trying to see if the cell towers will give me a good signal. And so far, I think it's doing pretty good. We'll see at the end, and we'll see how many boards we can cut. Appreciate you coming in here. All right, so now that we got this side about 10 inches the whole way, yeah, we're about 11. Now what we could do is we could take this stop here and let it free and roll this log. And thanks to some of the YouTubers, they've shown me that I can make a tool that turns this a lot easier. Let me show you. And it has been a lifesaver. This baby has been a lifesaver for cutting logs. I forget what they call this. Cant turner? Cant turner. I don't know what it's called. But this basically grabs on the log. Now I did modify this the other day, and I made this thing really steep, and so it digs into the log. And I made this the opposite way. I don't know if you can see that. Really steep. And I sharpened these to a razor point edge, so it really digs into the log. And I don't know how come, but they have to kind of be offset. So as it's grabbing into the log, if it's a small log, it grabs into it. If it's a bigger log, it grabs into it. I'm not sure how this thing works, but somehow that being down here and this being up here, I thought this should be right here originally, and in a minute ended up moving it down here, and now it works so much better. Don't know how. I'm not a physicist, but it works like a charm. Watch this. I can turn this log with little effort. And this part, you just lift up and it grabs into the log. You don't have to really use much effort. It's just throw it underneath there, and she's locked in. And then I can take this and drag the log back. Roll it. And there she is. She's on the side. Now I do have to adjust my little dog here. Everything's a dog. I have no idea what these are called. I think they're dogs. Because this one down here has a little tip on the end. And I don't want that sticking out because the other one doesn't have it. I want it just a flush, straight edge, so that it rests right up against this log here. So when I turn this up like that, she rests nice and flat. And then I'll keep this board straight on the one end. But to be honest with you, I forgot. We're going to cut the other side of this. So we're going to completely roll this over, because we want to cut the other end. So I'm going to drag this out just a hair and drag it completely over. She's up. Maybe I can go back out there and continue cutting my log. I'm on the mend. Yeah, I think we're all on the mend, Sarah. It's just a matter from one mend to the next mend. That's the way life goes, and I hear it just keeps getting better as you go toward the end of it. Let's see what else we got going on here. Looks like a cinch. I don't know how to pronounce it. SCYTH. Seethe? How do you spell that? Oh, she can't tell. Nope, I'm in agreement. In agreement. Like you can see me. Yep. All right. All right. I'm going to try and go outside again and continue cutting this log. But I'm going to unplug this thing and make a run for the next power supply and see if we can find one before the phone dies out again. For some reason these phones charge a lot faster nowadays, so if you give them a few minutes, they get to like 2 or 3% really quickly. So we're going to give it a shot. Okay, I'm back on the live. I hit the button, and apparently that just basically disconnects the camera. It does not turn the camera around. What I'm doing is I'm just trying a couple things to see if I can quickly figure out how to make this camera go backwards while I'm waiting for the camera to charge. and I'm not seeing anything in here for settings for the camera while you're on it. Start a poll. I'm not sure. I'm not seeing anything. All right. Well, I'm going to make the run for it. See if we can get outside and plug this into a power supply before we die. So bear with me as I make a run for it. This is what happens when you try and do a live when you only got 23% on your phone. But it's a beautiful day. We've been having rain for the last almost a week and a half. So finally the rain is over and the bees are flying. Got into a couple of them and took a look at them, and they're doing okay so far, and I don't think we have to worry about them getting cold for a while. Hopefully no more winter flashes. I think that's all over. And now we're back into the lumber yard. I'm gonna steal some power over here. See if we can get this back into action. Got me some power. So theoretically we should be able to keep going until the phone runs out of data storage, which that happens too quickly nowadays. So we're gonna put you guys back into our makeshift stand. This is a Walmart. Where the heck are you? Walmart stand, and the bolts all fell out, so I'm using some good old electrical tape to try and hold things together, and that holds my phone nice and tight. And that goes on top of a Harbor Freight stand that they use for a laser level, and so far that's been pretty stout. The only thing that I've messed up is down here at the bottom. These are kind of flimsy, so you got to be gentle with it, not the way I am, because she can break very easily. So we're going to put you back into the tape. Hold on as we turn it. Okay, you're back in the tape. And then we got to figure out how to plug this in without letting the cord put too much strain on it. So we're going to tie a knot around the tripod, and then we're plugging you in, and now you have power. You heard that. That's how much power it takes. It makes a big spark. All right, so you're back in the live stream, and we're going to try and cut this log. So now what we've done while you were not here is we turned the log completely over to the other side, and we're going to bring it down until it's about 10 inches across the top, and then from there we should be able to keep going and make some logs. What we'll probably do is cut off the two sides and trim it up to 10 inches exactly. That way that all the boards are all ready to go. And I think it's 9 5/8 is what a board needs to be, so it gives me just a little bit extra to cut off later on and make sure they're nice and clean. So what we're going to do is go on whole numbers. So we'll probably plan for, let's go like 11 inches. There you go, that's 11 inches. Okay, here goes the ride. Let's get you a little closer into the action here. Let's get you a little lower. Bear with me. You're going down. Back you up with hair. There you go. Ready for the last cut up like there. About 9.5 on the far end. Nine and a half on the far end, so I'm going to make the call. I'm going to flip this thing around and cut these two sides off, this side and this side, and make it into a square block. And that way that all the rest of these boards are ready to go once we're done. So I'm going to roll it back. We're going to use this guy to try and hold it up, keep it from falling over. I don't have much on the other side to keep it from falling over though. I'll try to turn it the other way. Yeah, that's a little bit better. I'm going to slide it in a little bit on the floor end here. There you go. So now she's pretty straight on there. So now we're going to take off this top here. Bring it down until it's about 10 inches, which is right about here. So here we go. Oh, who else is on here? My husband and I were thinking about getting some bees. We planned on perfect flowers for them. The other thing about the planting the flowers, I was talking about to my bee inspector, and she was saying that the trees, flowering trees, give you more pollen per square foot because of the canopy effect. So I'm wondering if I should be switching over to the trees rather than the flowers. But I think the trees are also a seasonal thing. They bloom and they're done. So I know some of these flowers keep blooming for longer periods of time. But then the bees only go after certain flowers. So they might go after certain flowers because they're more preferred, I guess, for the nectar content, the sugar content, whatever. But yeah, and then I also heard that the bees really don't go for your local stuff right next to you. So it's the great debate, but hey, as long as you're having fun, who cares, right? That's great. Yep, that's the problem with this whole beekeeping. It's a big fun thing. It's kind of like watching the bees and feeding the squirrels, you know? I mean, watching the birds and feeding the squirrels. If you're having fun, who cares? Who cares how much it costs? Who cares how much your back hurts when you're done? It's fun. So here we go. Keep chatting amongst yourselves. I'm going to make some noise. Okay, we're down to about 10 inches before we hit this brown part. Well, that's 12 inches, so we got 2 inches to spare on the bottom. So I think I'm going to flip it over and get the other side. I'm not going to worry about this little piece, this couple boards here. We're just going to have to use them for something else. Hey Jimmy, looks like the weld job is holding up. Now actually this is a new blade. That other blade, I was thinking about doing a TIG weld on it. It would be 3 TIG welds on it, just because, why not? And I'm starting to think that it really wasn't the stress on the blade, but maybe the other blade cracks were because it got twisted when it fell. Because I don't know if you can see it or not, but I have a track here, and it has a joint right here. And let's see if we can get a little closer to it. There we go. There's the joint. And as it moves just a hair one way or the other, let's see if you can see it. Where's the track? As that joint moves just a hair one way or the other, sometimes this roller doesn't like it and it jumps off. So as this wheel comes up here, it hits that, and sometimes it doesn't like it and it jumps off that track. And I know that's a problem. It's always been a problem ever since I got this saw, because I made this section. Whoops, now you can't see it. Because I made this section and I bought this section, and that's the way that they make these. You make them in pieces, and so you can bolt them together. But they have a little bit of play. I'm almost thinking about putting a piece of metal on this side and bolting it so that that can't move back and forth. Because once in a while when it moves and that wheel jumps off the track, it puts a lot of strain on this blade and it snaps it. But because it had 3 snaps, 3 spots that broke, I thought maybe it was a stress crack. But the more I'm thinking about it, maybe it was just because of the momentum or the way it twisted, that maybe it caused the blade to have stress in more than one spot, and that's the reason. I may be wrong. So I'm thinking about TIG welding it and giving it a shot and see if it is indeed a stress crack or if it was just from those 2 accidents that we had. We'll give it a shot. And I can't see this other comment down here. It says, what are you making? I am making, hi Miranda, I am making 1-inch wide boards, and they are going to be around 10 inches long or wide, but 1 inch thick, and eventually they're going to be cut down to 9 5/8 wide, and they were going to be anywhere from 20 inches to 16 1/4 long, and that's the 2 sides of a beehive box. And that's the plan, only because this is only an 8-foot long log and not much else I can use it for. That's awesome, right? My husband and I are thinking about bees. It says, great job. The bees do what they want? Yeah, no doubt they do what they want. And I have a lot of bees that come over here and visit me in the this lumber yard, I guess, part of the house. And I don't know if it's the sawdust they're coming after or it's the actual boards, but I've been watching them. Sometimes they're around the bark, because this is a pine, so I have a lot of these pine bark around. I'm not sure if it's something that's growing on them, but they hang around here quite a bit. Yeah, I saw you shared the live stream. Appreciate it, Sarah. Yeah, I just was curious at how you were able to share it, because I know I was on at the end, and I don't know, the technology when you're on live, you know, I don't know, my brain can't handle being live and pushing buttons at the same time. So trying to explore this stuff, and do live at the same time. I don't know. I couldn't figure out how to make it live, but I'll have to look for that live button in the top corner for the next time. Let's see, there's an arrow button. Nope. Let's see. Nice wood. Could be pine rosin. Yeah, the pine rosin, I do know that sometimes gets all sticky on the blade sometimes, and I think it has to do with also the weather of it. Also, maybe when the wood was cut, you know, was it in a sappy time of the year when they cut the tree, or was it not? But as you can see on this is a new blade that hasn't cut very much. This is like the second log that's been cutting, and as you can see, it's shiny and clean. Now, actually, if you look over here, this is the factory weld right there. Let's take a look. So that is the factory weld on the blade. That's what it looks like. So it has a little bit of a grinding in the middle, and that's about it. Pretty straight on the back. I don't know, they call it the gusset or something. That's very, very nice and clean. And you don't see any like stress cracks here. That's what it looks like when it's new. So I'm going to put you over here. Let's see if you can enjoy the log cutting. Let's see, here we go. So what I got to do now is got to flip this over so I can cut this bottom side. And then what we're going to try and get this down to is about 10 inches wide. That way, right now, if we go to that part, we're about 11.5. So take off another board or two. Then we could cut these all, and they'll be ready to roll for making bee boxes. So that's the plan. So we got back this sole out of the way. Let this thing go. Get our fancy tool out here. So now we got to get them pushed up against here. All right, now she's nice and straight. And then we got to watch these as we get down. We don't want to cut them off because I did that with 2 blades ago. And that stops your cutting really quick. Alright, so I'm going to take a couple slices off of here. All right, so now we got 10 inches and a quarter this way, and we got 10 and a quarter this way. So this could go either way. Now we could cut this any way we wanted. And I got a little bit of a missing down here in this corner. And the other end up there on this side, we got a little bit missing. So I guess if we wanted the least amount, we would have just this board be messed up if we cut from this side. So let's cut from this side, and then these last two boards will be the only ones that aren't perfect all the way from one end to the other. And I keep forgetting, these boards are big, and you can't just push them around with your knee. They ain't budging. Okay, so now, so we could start cutting here on down every inch and make some nice boards. In theory, we should be able to make 10 8-foot long planks of wood if everything goes good. Here you go. When we ain't playing no games, we're gonna get the water this time. Sometimes I go a little cheap, skip the water, because I get lazy, because this thing runs through a lot of water, but after that last blade broke so quickly, I'm not taking any risks. Okay, I think my belt is slipping a little bit too much on here. Let's take a look. When I really push down fast, it's stopping. I'm starting to learn that you don't push it, because then there's something wrong with it. Yes. I don't know if you can see that. This is my brand new belt because I wore the first one out that I've had since I bought the thing. So I went to Tractor Supply and bought a belt. These things are almost 60 bucks. I think this one was 40 or 50 bucks for a belt. It's a 5/8 inch wide belt. So I'm going to tighten it rather than burn it. Sorry to leave you staring at a belt for all that time, but I had to go get a special tool. So, on the engine, they have this nut. It pulls the whole engine back and forth and tightens it up. And I think it's metric. I'm gonna guess 17 millimeter. Let's try 15. Alright, how about 17? Yep, I was right, 17. And that turns quite easy when it's loose. And I think they call this a line wrench or a brake line wrench. That's just so the line can fit down in there and then you can tighten the nut. But this is the old days of Sears. I'm sorry it's backwards, but I like the way they all have this little case to carry quickly. So it's usually my go-to set because all my other sets are all loose. See how tight that is. Hey Jimmy, thanks for staying in here. Appreciate you staying in the live. Let's see how tight this thing is now. Give it the old finger test. No, I think we're going to go a little bit more. I'm not using any special belt tensioning devices. I'm just going until it barely moves. Let's see how that does. I'm tied to a leash. My power supply cord. Alright. Yeah. That's more like it. Barely moves when I push on it. I think that'll do for a while. Sorry to have you all crooked and all, but my stand is a little out of cattywampus here. Let's see if we can give you a V8. There. That's a little better. So now, I was also told that I'm supposed to keep this clean. What I find out is with all the water, it causes the sawdust to bog up down in here. Ooh, too close. Yeah, right there. And it clogs up my exit hole right here. See that? Clogged up. Get all these sawdust boogers. Kind of reminds me of propolis. Another thing within here, this is the blade, and that thing's sharp. So you don't want to get in here and touch that thing. You'll have red stuff leak out. And this door closes first. And now we got this side. This side never really gets that bad. Yeah, you get a little bit on the door, not too bad. That should do it. Let's see. Now we can close this thing up. Oh, and I put a piece of copper tubing between the nut because I only need this part of the threads, and I didn't feel like tightening all this part up if I don't need it, so I kind of cheated. See that? Whoops, where'd it go? Yeah, that's all I need is that little bit. I need to tighten up the, whoops. I need to tighten it up to there. So, rather than have all this part here, I just put that piece of copper tubing in there to take up the difference. That way that nut stays away. And there you go. She's locked and sealed. And anything pink is because it started to rust, because I don't have any weather canopy over top of it, so any rusty spots I painted with the pink paint because it's just what I happen to grab. I just grab a can. I think it was for my pig I have in the out yard for a decorative display. Pink pig. So there she goes. Now we can finish this cut on this board. Now we got about 2 inches of board left. 2 1/4 there, 2 1/4. So because my dogs won't go low enough on this one, and it only goes down to about 1 1/8 from the base, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a board underneath here and raise it up 1 inch. See? And now I should be able to cut that last 1 inch board times 2. And there you have it. 1 stack of boards. That's just for fun. Stack them up and see what they look like. One of the things that I learned when I do the sawmilling for the first time is I realized there's a whole lot of stuff that they can't use anything with. Just waste. So you start cutting your boards and you get down in there and you find stuff like this that you thought was going to be a solid board, and it's not. But that's just the way it is. So now I gotta sticker it. Yes. That is a problem. My stickers ran out. And my table saw is out for repair. So I'm right now stacking it without stickers, hoping my saw gets back. It's been out to repair for like the 4th time. I think it's a defect if it has the same thing happen more than one time. But yeah, that's what I gotta do. Stack this dry, because I don't have any way of cutting stickers right now because my table saw is gone, out for repair. I was thinking about maybe setting these up on end and cutting some strips, making stickers, but I haven't done that yet. One of the reasons is this blade does go up and down a little bit sometimes, and I don't know, I like to have my stickers all the same thickness, and so that I don't have wavy stacks. So I'd rather do them on the table saw. But I may, if it takes too long, I may not be able to do that, and I might have to break out the this saw in order to make stickers. But well, I hope you guys enjoyed the live. I'm gonna go stack some wood. Unless you want to see the stacking, want to see some stacking? I'll show you some stacking. Well, I'm at the end of my leash. All right, we'll do some stacking until the power runs out. How's that? When the battery dies, the stacking ends. And I'm only carrying one board at a time because I was trying to do 2. Well, maybe I might do 2, but I get my back starts to hurt after a while. So this is my short stack here. There we go. This is my short stack. So we're gonna, well, these are 8 foot long, ain't they? Stink. That's longer than this is. So what we'll do is we'll move this whole stack over. See if we can do that. There. Now we'll make a long stack. All right. See if we get you a little bit higher. See if we put some light on the subject. Light on the subject. Where is the light? Oh, I'm using the power. All right. Well, there's going to be stacking. I'll see you every couple minutes. That ain't too bad. Two's good. Let's switch sides. 2 ain't so bad. We'll go try for 3. think I'm gonna stick with 2. That was too much work. I'm beat. So that's the stack. Plasma cutter for pine. I agree. That would be an idea. I could do them on a bandsaw. That would be a method to cut stickers. But I think the table saw will be a lot faster. Yeah, so right now they're going to be unstickered. Hopefully we won't get too much mold. I did get quite a bit of mold on the ones that I stickered this winter. I don't think I get a lot of air in here, but I got the white fungi on some of them. So anyway, what I end up doing is cut them up even though they were slightly wet and making bee boxes out of them. I figured they'll have to dry in a box format, and that might be what I'm going to have to do, because they're, you know, they're not drying the best in the winter months. Maybe the humidity and dew point thing, I don't know. Maybe they don't dry as good in the winter. So we'll see how that goes. But I hope you guys enjoyed the stacking and the cutting. I've got to go get myself another log. I got my coffin trailer. I got me a hitch on the front, and it goes to my coffin trailer. And this guy has a little winch on. Oh, you're not supposed to see that. So it has a little hitch on there, and that allows you to jack up the logs and put them on the coffin trailer. And from there you can bring them on home. So I've got to go get me another log. Thanks for watching, and I'm going to try and end it live.